Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am Tariq Shahzad. Now we have to discuss about the thermoregulatory adaptations in animals, or what are different thermoregulatory adaptations in animal that cause the exchange of heat between animals and their environment. So there are three different type of adaptations. This one may be a long question, but less important as a long question. Regulation of heat exchange between animals and environment, that what are different adaptations between animal and in animal that cause the exchange of heat between animal to their outer environment. So there are three different type of adaptations. Number one, structural adaptation. Number two, physiological adaptation. And number three, behavioral adaptation. There are three different type of these adaptations. Number one is structural adaptation. Structural adaptations mean the adaptations are different type of organ or part of body that is a permanent part of body, and they cause or they involve in the exchange of heat between organisms and their environment. It will included in structural adaptations. These adaptations are part of body of animal, mean that they are not part-time part, but they are the permanent part of the animal body. So there are four different parts that involve between heat exchange of animal with their environment. Number one is subdermal fatty layer. Subdermal fatty layer act as insulator. Subdermal fatty layer mean the fatty layer that is present beneath our skin, and this subdermal fatty layer act as an insulator. For example, if the temperature of the outer environment is low, and it will not allow heat to escape out from our body. That's why it also involve in the regulation of the body temperature. So subdermal fatty layer mean the fatty layer that is present beneath our skin is subdermal fatty layer. And number two, pelage. What is pelage? Pelage is hairy, woolly or feathery coating on the skin. Pelage is a hairy, woolly and feathery coating over the skin is called as pelage. Like hairy layer in our body or in some other animals, in large mammals, and this hairy coating also cause the trapping of the air layer within the hairs, and this layer of air act as insulator, and it does not allow the escape of heat from body to the outer environment. And it may be a woolly coating in case of sheeps. In sheeps there is a woolly coating over the whole body, and this will act as insulator, and it will not allow the escape of heat from the body to the outer environment. And the third one is feathery, like in birds it also act as an insulator. So pelage. And number third is sweat gland. Sweat gland are present as a permanent part of the body, and these sweat gland regulate the body temperature between animal and their environment. So it is also a structural adaptation. And number four is lung modification for panting. Lungs modification, for example, you can see that in case of dog, whenever dog is sitting in hot environment or during the summer season, the dog is protruding his tongue, and over tongue he is continually flowing of water drop by drop, and this water is hot water, and this hot water along with releasing also cause the decrease in the temperature of a dog. It is also known as panting. Panting is a respiratory system modification that cause a decrease the temperature of the dog. So it is a lung modification for panting. Panting means sweating on tongue in case of dog. This is called as lung modification for panting. So lung modification, sweat gland, pelage and subdermal fatty layer, these are structural adaptation. These four are structural adaptation. These are also as an MCQs that he gave you one of these four and ask you that where it is included in structural adaptation, physiological adaptations or behavioral adaptations. So these four examples are structural adaptations. Number two is physiological adaptations. That what are physiological adaptations? In warmth, in physiological adaptations, I distributed into two different categories. Number one, what is adaptations in warmth temperature, and what is adaptations in cooled temperature. So you have to make two distinct headings about in warm temperature and in cool temperature. Number one, in warmth. In your textbook it is not written with sequence, so I make here a proper arrangement or sequence. So you have to arrange your answer in such a way that the related things may be included in a single head, whereas other related things may be included in other head, right? So next, first one is in warm temperature. In warm temperature, the blood supply is increased to top of the skin or upper of the skin, that when hottest blood move on the upper part of the skin, it will allow to escape heat from blood through skin to outer environment. So it also activates the sweat gland to release the heat to the outer environment. So all this is physiological adaptations. Greater blood flow in skin surface is superficial, dissipate excess heat. It will dissipate excess heat. And next one is activation of sweat gland. Now keep in mind that sweat gland is a structural adaptation, whereas the activation of sweat gland is a physiological adaptation. So keep in mind that about this. If activation of sweat gland, it is a physiological adaptation, whereas sweat gland itself is a structural adaptation. So all these changes occur in warm temperature. This activation of sweat gland is also an MCQs, whereas these examples are also act as an MCQs. Next one is in cooled temperature. In cool temperature, blood flow become deeper to the body, so it doesn't allow to escape heat outside the environment or out to environment. So blood flow deeper to skin prevent heat loss. It prevent heat loss. And activation of certain muscles. Activation of certain muscles in case of plumage fluffing. Plumage means feather that is present on the body of the bird, whereas fluffing means their arrangement in such a way that they can trap the thick layer of air between them, and this layer act as an insulator. Next one is behavioral adaptations. That what are behavioral adaptations of animal that make them to exchange in better way between outer environment and inner environment. If for example, if animal keep its temperature constant, so it will not allow heat to escape outside the body or outer heat to penetrate into its body. So exchange is minimal in case of behavioral adaptation. So it is a voluntary action moving animal to place where heat exchange is minimal. For example, ground squirrels is type of animals. They make burrows or deep channels in the soil, that the lower part of the soil that has some type of moisture, so its temperature is less as compared to top of the soil in the midday. So in midday when the outer temperature is hot, so they penetrate into the burrows, that why they can retain their body temperature to their normal position in the midday. And last one is lizard bask in the sun. This is an also MCQs. Lizard bask in the sun to gain heat. This is an also MCQs. And last one is control amount of surface area for heat exchange. For example, you can see that you can see dogs and cats during the cold season. At the morning time, you see that the dog or cats, they hide their head or they entangle their head between the tongue, and they make themselves so teeny like a ball that their body surface will not so more interacted to the outer environment or exposed to the outer environment. So they become entangled their body parts, and they hide their head between the legs, and they curled or become curly to reduce their body surface. That's why that's why their body surface is less, and escape of heat from their body to outer environment is less. That one the last one. So you have to attempt in such a way that it will become easy for your examiner, and that is a guarantee that you will get maximum marks if you write in such a way that your examiner can look even in a bird's view that the student has right all things. Allah Hafiz.